Hey guys, Melon here. I have a new look and I'm back to entertain you. So, last AI video, y'all were lighting up the comments. Thank you for that, by the way, taking time out of your day to interact with little old me. We're gonna go again, but this time I decided to do a style studying because Twitter was in a tizzy trying to figure out whose style was used to create these images. They come from an account named Petra who makes AI art images, so for fun, I thought I would paint like that. Like, who knows, it could be educational. First, we're going to try and replicate a picture that's already in existence that is on the page I found. I chose this one because of the warm and cool contrast. And the palette's kind of pulled back, it's chill, nothing crazy, it's not going to take too long. And I did it in Procreate because I love painting on my iPad. Here's the video time-lapse, and now you can listen to my story. So, when Petra's art first came up on my timeline, it was a few weeks before all the Twitter drama started. I was scrolling, and it caught my eye because of the soft brushes, and that's one of my favorite things, is soft and lost edges. So I was like, that's cute, and I clicked on it, and I was like, kind of looks like AI, and I kept scrolling, and I realized that all the images kind of had the same composition and format. I was like, it's definitely AI. Check the tags, and yes, confirmed. So I was just like, well, it's pretty, whatever. I can steal the colors for later. Saved them, moved on. A few weeks later, I see this tweet floating around. I'm like, oh, that's that person I saw on Instagram. Interesting. And then I saw this trend, the Petra style trend, and I was like, oh, they're doing a trend now. Y'all stole my idea. Well, now I gotta join back in. So now I'm making this video. So after that little exercise, I wrote down notes for the analysis, and firstly we have airbrush. Definitely is a staple of this. Helps you get the smooth transitions with the colors. And I also thought to maybe start with a texture or hard edges and then fade it out with a blur tool or something. I tried that a few times. It's not always effective. It works for small parts like maybe blurring a line art or getting the edges of the hair to blend, but overall it's best to just use the airbrush. Next is hue variation shifts. Nothing in the piece is the same tone consistently. It goes from light to dark, it goes from red to orange, blue to green. Something is shifting no matter what. Noise. The noise filter is really important to the style, especially at the end. You add it on top of everything. It gives it that homogeneous feeling of like the flurries, like a flurry feeling. That's what the noise filter is for. Line art, I see that there was line art in this, but I didn't want to do that. I was too lazy. It's like, why am I gonna line art over something that's gonna get blurred later? Why are you wasting my time? That's the second point, is blurred line art. It says line art and blurred line art in my notes. Yeah, I'm not doing that. And why would I waste my time? If I can make a clean sketch, I'm just gonna use that. Next, blur the painting after you finish it. Even though you already airbrushed it and have a noise filter, you have to blur everything. It's every step, blur it. And then lastly is the background color is usually going to be flat or some sort of gradient that complements the colors in your image. So that part's pretty easy. I've always really liked the soft blended art styles. I always admired these people when I'd see them in my timeline. People like RDJ Rock, A Neko, and Ivan. They just have that. They have that special something. And I've always thought to incorporate it more into my art, but I didn't really get around to it. So now is the perfect opportunity to get around to it and maybe get some internet points. So my plan for the final piece is I'm going to redraw this picture that I made last year. I still like the colors in it and it's a limited palette. It won't be 100% the same though. We have to shake it up, you know, with that Petra energy. I'm anticipating some struggles that I'm going to have with this, and the first one will probably be picking the darkest color. In most of Petra's images, there is one color that's the background for everything. Sometimes it's black, sometimes it's like a pink, red, purple, and it starts the palette for the tone of the entire image. And so that's really important, especially for the eyes, because usually the eyes and the outline are matching in color. For this, I'm thinking it should be purple, but we also have a greenish blue in the face that needs to blend into the saturated orange. And using soft brushes, it could easily look muddy and not cute at all. Second struggle is the hair. The hair is black, so you don't really have to paint it because in Petra style, light gets sucked into the color. There's no highlights. I'm mostly concerned about the shapes and the edges that will appear in the face via bangs because that is going to need to be blurred, but it also needs to be defined because it's hair. But enough of that negative thinking, let's get into it. First, I filled everything with the skin tone and airbrushed a gradient on top. As I suspected, I ended up changing the color slightly. I was gonna match that painting I showed you earlier, but I ended up not liking it at all. It just wasn't working for me and I wasn't excited to continue the painting, so I deleted all of that and I started over. For the hair, as I predicted, it was hard to decide what direction to go in. I wasn't sure what colors to put on it because I ended up going with purple pink as the darkest hue in the face. And so the hair needs a little bit of purple in it to match with the face. And then I couldn't decide on what brush to use. Photoshop has this brush that has hard edges but operates on opacity. So I used that to draw the hair, and then I would blur the ends. And then I would draw on top to add strands and things like that and harden the sides, but keep the, what's it called? The edge of your hair. You know when you cut your hair, the part that you cut, the edge of the hair. I wanted to keep that more soft than the sides of the hair. And it ended up looking okay in the end. It was looking rough in the beginning. It was a bit of a struggle trying to find the process that works. But in the end, I think I like how it looks. So after I figured out the hair, I just kept rendering, kept adding airbrush, kept softening, kept blurring things. The eyes, I wasn't sure if I wanted to define the eyes more or not. I decided to leave them undefined like the practice I did. Even though there's also a version of the eyes that are black with pupils and everything, I decided not to go with that and to go with the pupilless, soft, colorful eye. Okay, so I've done most of the rendering and then I did an effect test to see if I would get the look I wanted if I added the blurs, the noise, the bloom, all that stuff. And it looks fine, but there are a few things I'm gonna go back because I can change. I think I want to change the hair, the way the horns are in the hair, and the color of the tears. It's like really saturated blue right now. It's kind of standing out and that's not the focal point. Also, the hard lines and the facial features, I want to add a little bit more of those and some more shape to the hair because I noticed in Petra's, everyone's head is like round shape and mine's a little too angular. I also realized way too late that Petra doesn't really show the bodies or clothing, or when clothing is shown, it's one color like black, and so I'm going to have to experiment a bit with that to try to make it work, but in the end, I'm probably going to end up cropping it. So ending process, finishing touches, I made 3 copies just in case I messed up. One copy got the Gaussian blur, I put it on 50% and then added a noise filter, and it looks pretty good. So lastly, about that crop, we gotta add the crop because when I scroll on the account, I see everything's about square shapes and close-ups. So we're gonna do that a bit. We're gonna crop some faces, see which one we like best. I liked these 2 the best. And then just for fun, I, as a final test, put it in Google image reverse search to see if it could find the influence, and I spy with my little eye 2 Petra pictures. This is so dumb. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please sub so we can be reunited again in the future. See you!